Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Carla Sanders, the Cosmic Crone, and I am here to bring you the Gemini New Moon Divine Feminine Astrology reading. The new moon is in the morning, 7:30 a.m. on May 30th. It is a holiday, a national holiday in the United States, Memorial Day. It is the official beginning of summer, even though the solstice is not until another couple of weeks, 3 weeks from that date. And that word memorial, it is a day that ought to be remembered in solemnity because it represents the memory, memorializing fallen soldiers in the wars that the United States was involved in and presumably won. And we are memorializing so much more right now. This new moon comes at a time of deep grieving. There is a war that seems to have no resolution in the Ukraine, an invasion from one sovereign state to take over and annex and destroy another. And since the full moon, the eclipse cycle, the Taurus solar eclipse and the Scorpio full moon eclipse, there have been mass murders in the United States. A supermarket in Buffalo, people shopping, going out and buying food for their families, taking care of their daily errands. And I don't remember the numbers, but a dozen of them or more were gunned down. And that one we know was racially motivated. Someone went to a place where he could kill and destroy Black people. And the one that we are grieving most recently, school children. One classroom, in fact. And there are a lot of questions about that one. What the hell happened? And it was a community in Texas near the border of Mexico. And it was a Latino young man who was the shooter. And it was every name that I have seen has been a Latino or Latina name. So it does not appear to have been racially motivated. I have been looking for some kind of, well, there is nothing. There is nothing. What was this person trying to destroy? His own pain, old anger, innocence. Well, he was destroyed too in the process, and maybe that's what he was trying to do. Maybe he wanted company on his journey out. I don't know. I just know that we are in this astrology. Do I look at the astrology and say, what predicted that? I don't know. Some astrologers work with that kind of reading, and I don't really. I do know that this was an intense eclipse. I do know that it is an intense time in the world and in our country, this country that I live in, of which I am a citizen. And I don't know what to say. I just want to name that there is grief, there is outrage, there is complete, just, how could this be happening? How could the ruling powers of this country, or a huge obstacle faction of them, care about the right of an 18-year-old to wield a gun, then they could care about the lives, the education, and the support and love of families and children. Education, so many things. This is Juno. This is Juno material, and I've been feeling Juno calling to me. She is one of the goddess avatars, and I look at her, and she's not on the surface as sexy as the Liliths. Everybody pricks up their ears and says, tell me about Lilith. Tell me about the dark goddess. Well, right now, Juno is a dark goddess because she stands for social justice for women and children. She stands for a society, a culture, a foundation that acknowledges that the growth and success of a culture or a society is based, it's founded in the health and well-being of women and children. Because women carry the wisdom in their wombs, and children carry the future in their precious bodies. And women understand that they are carrying the future from the cosmos through their bodies into this world, and then with the nurturing and the feeding. And women also have the power of life and death. We actually do get to choose who gets born and who survives and who thrives. It's as the ones who bear life, that power of life and death belongs to us. And I think part of the psychosis of this country and this world even is that the masculine has wrested that authority. It's not really a power, it is an authority. It has wrested that authority from the feminine and wants to control everything. And it has created a warped sense of values that discounts, ignores, doesn't even know that Juno exists. So that is the context of this reading today. And I want you to look at it. I call it listening to the chaos because we haven't seen this many lines on a chart in quite some time. All of these planets have been in, 1/3 or 1/2 of the sky, but they haven't really been talking to each other that strongly. But somehow at this new moon, this new era, the first new moon after an eclipse cycle, these planets are all talking at the same time. And I'll explain it. I'll describe what I'm looking at. If I try to tell you what all these planets are saying, first off, I'm going to have to do some serious listening, and I haven't heard it all yet. I'm kind of saying, I'm listening now. I'm listening and talking at the same time, so hopefully something will come through that will be helpful to you. But we have mostly blue lines. We have a lot of blue lines, and they are the short blue lines. These are called sextiles, and I call that planets singing in close harmony. So we don't necessarily have merged energies other than the sun and the moon. A couple of conjunctions a few conjunctions are happening where Black Moon Lilith is merging her energy with Ceres, the goddess before patriarchy and the earth. And they are opposite Pholus and Magdalena. Magdalena, the great teacher of Christ consciousness, and Pholus, who stands for small things blowing up and changing everything. So we've got that energy going on, making a T-square to Jupiter and Mars conjunct in Aries. We've got a lot of Aries energy right now. Mars is there. Jupiter is there. Chiron is there, and Eris is there. And so Mars and Jupiter are merging their energies, and that is Mars. This is the masculine. It's fire. It's directed thought. It is focus. It can be, in the presence of Jupiter, a hyper focus. And it can be warlike, especially if there is a power imbalance, if there's dysfunction in the power structure of the society. Then Jupiter is there to expand all that energy. So Pholus blowing things up over in Capricorn, and yep, okay, that one. I didn't even draw a line for that one. Uranus blowing things up over in Taurus, and he is talking to Nessus. All right, so we've got a T-square, which is a hard, stuck, it demands action and awareness and attention and some decision making to break that up. And it's kind of like the earth and the goddess are kind of locked horns with Mars and Jupiter. And Magdalena and Pholus, what does that mean? We've got this great teacher of love, the consort of Jesus, of Yeshua, and the teacher of Christ consciousness, of divine feminine truth in our era, the 2,000 years that we're living in now. And accompanied by a big surprise. And I believe that that is the energy that will break this up. There is a teaching of love that is more powerful than the violence that is running the show right now. And all of this is going to move. You know, we are in a moment where we are able to observe this and say, what does it mean to us? What is it calling us to do? How are we going to live with this? Or how are we going to change it? Because I don't think we can live with this. We can't. And then almost on top of that, there is another T-square with the other Lilith, the Lilith asteroid, the disowned feminine within, is making a square to Neptune in Pisces, which is making a square to the galactic center, the black hole at the center of our galaxy. And interestingly enough, that black hole has been in the news lately. Science astronomers have been doing their best to take a picture of it. They want to know what she looks like. In a way, they're wanting to pull back the veil that would be Neptune and see in, to use instruments and energy wavelengths to see into that black hole and see what it will reveal to us. And that's like pulling back the veil and saying, dare you look upon the face of the goddess? What will you see? Because the goddess is at the center of our galaxy. One of the divine feminine avatars is the galactic center. Now, the scientists don't see it that way, but we mystics know that. And so they're very excited to try to figure out what they're looking at. But she is still in mystery because our instruments cannot see through the veil yet. Not well enough. So what does that say for us when we've got Neptune and the galactic center and our disowned feminine inside? What about the feminine are we not understanding inside of ourselves? And this is true of male-bodied people and female-bodied people because we all have this energy masculine and feminine within us. It's what keeps us alive and walking on the planet. And the disowned feminine says, if you are the male establishment in patriarchy designed by and for male people and male systems and to their advantage, and with an understanding that the male on top means everybody else has to be on the bottom. That was the great argument between Lilith and Adam in the Garden of Eden. I'm on top, you must be on the bottom. And she says, no, I'm leaving. Well, how can we leave? This was a question after that. This was right after the other solar eclipse. It's only been 2 weeks. After the Supreme Court document was leaked, Alito invoked the 18th century or whatever century he was in, cleric in England that said, we're going to base our understanding of our Constitution on this guy and let, 100 years of civil rights legislation and amendments and 50 years of liberty for women, body sovereignty for women that has been codified in Supreme Court law. We're going to let that pass, and we're going to go all the way back to somebody who was teaching and preaching and making policy before the United States was even a country and wasn't even in this country, British Isles. So that was happening. And the question came up, well, how do we go on strike? The old Greek play, Lysistrata, which is, we won't have sex with you until you stop the war. We won't have sex with you if you don't give us our rights. And that may have been used also in the fight for suffrage, 100 years ago. And so Lilith, the disowned feminine inside, she's piqued by all this. And is she saying, okay, I shall be crushed. I am being crushed. I am, just feel her cave in on herself. And allow the suppression, allow power over to keep that feminine disowned. Or is she waking up? Is she saying, wait a minute, I fucking count here. I am not going to be on the bottom. I make up half the world. I make up half the sky. I make up over half of the human beings on this planet. And not one human being exists without me. It is time for women to rise and own your feminine. Heal the feminine wound that has been inflicted by eons, generations, millennia of patriarchy. And it is a great act of soul and heart and imagination to discover what that actually looks like for us. It doesn't look like what men are afraid it will look like. And yet what it does look like, they're afraid of even more. Because what it looks like in the short term is chaos. And so we are listening to chaos now, all of these voices. The disowned feminine wakes up. She pierces the veil. She unites with the mystery of the galactic center. And she brings that power into her womb. And she walks in the mystery. She walks in the chaos. And she sheds light on Neptune, which is both the deep well of vision and creativity, and the surface illusion, delusion, confusion, obfuscation. Because I don't believe Neptune can be understood with your mind. If you apply your mind or your eyes or your telescopes to Neptune, you're not going to know what you're looking at. But if you apply your womb and your soul and your extrasensory perception, your wisdom to Neptune, Neptune has all the secrets, and it will start dishing them out. And then you get to make something of them. They don't necessarily come out as a solution to the problem. They come out as wisdom and knowing and power and metaphor and symbolism and myth. And we make something out of that. So that is what this Gemini new moon is telling us, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the communicator, and right now Mercury is retrograde. He's sliding back, and he slid back. He started his retrograde not quite. I can't remember what degree it was, but I don't think it was as far as the degree of this new moon, but it might have been. But he's sliding all the way back, and right now he's sitting on top of Algol, the other Lilith on the chart. And Lilith is the Lilith star, the eye of Medusa. She represents the demonized goddess. And you've heard me talk about her before. She is, I don't know, I visualize her so many different ways. She's right here, but she feels kind of far away because we keep looking at her through the eyes of patriarchy, and she is terrifying. She is a destroyer. And she is the intention was to diminish her by demonizing her, to turn the hearts of the people away from her, to put her into the realm of the forgotten. But she lives in us, and especially in women, and in our wombs, and in our cells, and in our deep memory, and in our circles. See that picture? Yes. So my eyes are conditioned to patriarchy, and I'm always having to catch. I'm always having to catch it and shift. So I see the demonized goddess far away and scary, but she has been coming into my life, dark, fierce, potent. She's been speaking to me hard for the last 3 years. And right now, she is pulling the messenger of the gods, Mercury, back to her. And she is downloading to him and saying, take this energy back. Take this information back on your direct turn. Because the people need it. And it's going to scare the shit out of them. And it may cause the patriarchy, it will cause the patriarchy to double down and to try to move faster and to be more repressive and to not care how many children get killed, whether they're Ukrainian or in one country or another in Africa, or if they're dying from drought or wildfire or starvation, or whether they're being gunned down by a wounded person who gave himself an AR-15 for his birthday. I promise you that the people in government who are not changing our laws, they do not give a damn about those children or any of those lives. Thoughts and prayers. It's not the guns. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. No. Policies, disinformation, laws, conquest, racism, and a culture that promotes and elevates those things and suppresses efforts and information and wisdom that would bring another perspective into the conversation, that would call people out, that might make somebody feel bad. Who is the goddamn snowflake? I am so tired of people saying women or LGBTQ or trans or intersect or in any of the people that are, yeah, I don't agree with every idea that everybody speaks of. I don't agree with every method. But damn it, when I see people saying, don't talk about racism because white people might feel bad, our white children might, they weren't alive then. We don't want them feeling bad about their ancestors. Who's the snowflake? A snowflake with an AR-15 kills people. Oh God, I didn't know I was going here. I didn't know I was this angry. So our work is to listen. In another 10 days or so, Mercury will come back and cross over the degree of this new moon. But even now, at the new moon portal, the new moon is a time to get quiet. We're going to be marching in parades and shopping and barbecuing hot dogs over here in the United States and waving flags and maybe going and putting a wreath on a grave. And shopping, we'll be fucking shopping. But it's new moon. So Sunday night into Monday, get quiet, sit by yourself, or if you listen better, in a circle, get somebody with you, 1 or 2 or 3, an intimate group, and sit together. If you know womb centering, which I teach, if you don't know it, come into the Womb Wisdom portal. I'll post, I'll make sure you see one example so you can dive into your womb. And if you don't want to do that, just tune in, connect with your belly. Your womb knows what you need. And listen. Listen to what the Dark Goddess is saying, because she is sending this message. She is downloading it to Mercury, and he will be bringing it out loud into the collective. But right now you can tune into it during this new moon. And there are so many other voices here. Eris is talking to Saturn and Lilith. Neptune is talking to Pluto and the Dark Goddess Algol and Mercury. Hecate is talking to Jupiter and Mars. Vesta is talking to Venus, and that's the voice you should tune into, because Vesta is the priestess. She has entered Pisces. She is the go-between between earth and heaven, among other things. She stands for devotion. She keeps that erotic flame of your life force. She keeps it alive in your womb. And when you get still and go into your womb, Vesta, Vesta will hold the space for you to feel what you need to feel and hear what you need to hear, and then interpret it and make a commitment to it. And Venus, the bright and shining one, the morning star, oh, she has been giving us so much information. We are not that far away from her retrograde in Capricorn. And she is still carrying all of that Pluto energy, that transformative energy. Venus she is brilliant. She is light, but she is the dark goddess now, and she's been carrying that for this whole cycle until her next retrograde over a year hence. So listen to all the voices. We are at a threshold. We are called. Down below here on my page, I posted twice a woman, I don't even know her name, but everything she says, what she is saying is a direct translation of Vesta, Venus, Lilith, and the dark goddess who is talking to Mercury right now. So you go listen to that and then go see, then settle in and get your personal message. So that's what I have. I feel like I have given you what you need to do. And do come into the Womb Wisdom Portal if you're not a member. That is the front porch of the temple, the School of Womb Wisdom. And that is where you will step into the teachings. You can choose to step into initiation. You can learn how to carry this energy and even teach it. But in the meantime, there's a circle. You can bring your anguish there. You can bring your questions. You can bring your shares and your wisdom. And you can receive from the other women in that group. So I offer you that. I will, as always, put a link in the comments where you can get your own Divine Feminine astrology reading, which is going to have a new name sometime in July. The Dark Goddess astrology reading. I know, I'm saying, what? But she's been talking to me, and that's what she's saying. So we will be taking care of that soon. I wish you a beautiful weekend. I wish you a weekend of joy with your loved ones. I wish you a sacred weekend of listening. And I wish you company and support with whatever you're feeling right now. Blessings. Aho.